Hello, good evening. Welcome. Happy weekend. Hope you're all enjoying your weekend. Thank you for joining. If you can hear me, let me know. We are live now. Hello. Let me see the comment let me see your comment in the comment section. Thank you for joining. Thank you. Thank you. It's an honor to have you all here today. I thank you for I thank you for everything. Thank you. Thank you for always being there. Thank you. Thank you. Today's topic will be a continuation of what we did our discussion for last month, and we will be talking all over about the compliance deadline for January, which is the filing of the annual return for the payee. And this month, we will be looking at how compliance should not be over and what smart businesses should do in February. My name is Bemisola Oduwoliola, as you know, and people call me Madam Compliance. Thank you for joining me, and we'll quickly dive into the discussion for today. Today's discussion, like I said, is how what smart businesses should do in February, and I will start by asking you this question. Did compliance end by 31st of January for many SMEs? Because many SMEs believe that once you have filed, you have complied. And they believe that deadline means their obligation to government has ended. So they don't need to do anything. And submission, whatever they have submitted as as that 31st of January, it is that is accurate. But that is not always true. Like I said, compliance is an all-round thing. You can't say because what you filed in January, by February you should be reviewing. February should be the month for reviews. So you look at what you file and focus what you have submitted. February, you focus on verification. You have to verify that actually what you have filed is the right thing you are supposed to file, because you understand that in the moment of filing of returns, you will you will be, maybe there is rush, you will not be able, let's just submit so that we meet the deadline. It happens. We understand that a lot of SMEs have a lot of things to do, particularly the purpose of every business is to make profit. Compliance is just by the side, but if we don't do our compliance right, whatever government penalties come may eat into our profit that we are actually running after. So verification is very important. We have to reconcile our records. There are cases that we make mistakes in the even when we feel that we have submitted everything, even in our own personal issues, there is need to reconcile. So when you have submitted anything as a filing document to whichever government agency, you need to reconcile it again and see that have I really, what have I filed? If it's going to be maybe 100 naira, 150 naira, and you have filed 100 and maybe 100 naira, those are the reconciliations that you look at. And this the risk exposure, because in every compliance there is always a risk attached to it. If you don't if you file and at the time of filing you are you have made a grave error, maybe you have under declared or you have missed a vital filing that you are supposed to do, those things come with risk. And if you don't, February is the time to be looking at this exposure to know how to mitigate it. As I'm going on, I think everybody should, if you have comments, if you have any comment, let me know, and then we will deal with it as we continue. You can put your comment in the comment section so that we can deal with it as we move on. Many for The reality check is that many SMEs in January, they filed late. Thank you, the Advanced Lounge. Thank you. Thank you. I'm so glad to see you here today. Thank you, my able coach. I'm so glad you are here. Um, they filed late. Some filed incorrectly. Some even filed partially. Let's just say maybe because their records are not complete, they file what they have. That at least let us meet the deadline. Let us meet the deadline. They file and move and say, okay, we would do the remaining later. But if you are not going to put check in place, doing the remaining later, you can be lost in the business of making money, and you may not even come back to it. Uh, and filing does not eliminate those risks, because the fact that you file and you filed incorrectly or partially, it is still an issue. So we need to check all these things and make sure that we have everything in place. So for me, filing is administrative, compliance is defensive. What I mean by that is that if we say compliance is for the compliance make if you have done the administrative part when you file. Government say we should file, failure to file is this, okay, let's quickly meet the deadline. But if you put your compliance, because by the time you filed, the government are still going to come and say, let's see what this person filed, how is it correct, and all these things. If you file incorrectly, or you are supposed to file somewhere, you are supposed to, you under declared, this thing comes with penalty and interest, and it's not in this age of there's no government filing that you do. If you are supposed to file something and you file the wrong thing, government will not, the ignorance of the law to them is not an excuse. So you need to be very proactive. That is why we say February is your review month. You have to review everything you have submitted to government. You and you have filed, but you must be able to defend what you have filed, whichever way it goes. If you file and whatever you filed is not defendable, it comes with a lot of issues, penalties, and some penalties are the way penalties are carved these days. It can eat into, especially for small SMEs, it can eat into your profit, and you end up closing the business if you are not careful. That is why we are talking compliance, compliance, compliance. It's not as if we want to scare anybody away, but we just feel that in this age of laws, we need to be at par with the law and ensure that everybody, every aspect of our business is not exposed to risk that will eventually take over our profit, which is why we have said compliance is the key when it comes to any business, any business, especially for SMEs that we are looking at. For bigger companies, you will realize that a lot of them have there's a department that deals with compliance in those big companies. If you look at all the multinationals, but for SMEs, if you are going to be putting a compliance of it, maybe it's going to be very costly for you. So that's why we have come up with this to help you to at least make sure that you have the right thing, you have the right procedures in place, and in cases where you are not clear, you can always reach out to us to advise you on what to do. Filing, like I said, filing is administrative, and compliance is a defense. You may file today, but you must be able to defend whatever you filed. What smart SMEs will do for in February, we review what they filed. Whatever you have filed in January, it is February is the month to review it. Let's identify the gaps in our filing early, and there's always room to make corrections. Like I said, there's always room to make corrections. Nobody is infallible, and even the tax officers know that, whether tax or government officers, they know that in some cases there are errors, but the error margin should not be something that will make us look as if we are trying to avoid being compliant. So if we are able to quickly say, oh, by the time I filed this thing, there's some mistake that I've identified, can we quickly correct it? That's why you can approach them and correct it. And even on your, if it is e-filing, I know that most of those e-filing has a room for correction too. And if they don't have room, you can approach the government office and say there is a lapse in what I've filed in order to meet the deadline. I'm sure that they do that. And you plan your compliance ahead. You have to, like I said, you have to file. It's not compliance is an all year round thing. It's something you do every day. Once you do something, we are still going to, maybe some other classes, we are still going to be talking about filing as it relates to company. But because why we are doing this now is because most SMEs have registered at business name, and in most cases they don't have business with the federal Nigerian Revenue Service. So why, that is why we are saying your filing, most SMEs with business name, their tax filing ends with the relevant tax authority of the state in which they operate, or in the state they reside, whichever way we want to look at it this way. So that is why we are dealing with it there. But at some other time we take up big companies, even SMEs that are still limited liabilities, and we look at them, their filing compliance for to the Nigerian Revenue Service, that is formerly the Federal Inland Revenue Service. I'm sure you all know that there is a name change at the Federal Inland Revenue Service. They are now known as the Nigerian Revenue Service. I think, hello, hello, can you, okay, sorry, I think I got lost for some time there. I'm back. If you can see me, please let me know, because I realized that my camera was off for a few seconds. Mm. So, like I said, you can still approach the state, your state internal revenue service, to file your, to make correction to whatever you have filed in January. And in February, like I said, February focus area, what you should be focusing on in February. In February, you should focus on your payroll filing. You should focus on your payroll filing. What is your payroll aligning? In some cases, what are the allowances you have paid that you have forgotten, or you have not been able to, at the time of filing, you have not been able to reconcile your records? Those are the things you should be looking at. Look at it very well. Say your payroll, the allowances, have they been included? If they have not been included, February is the time to detect that and make correction appropriately. The employer's annual return, the oh, why is my, hello, can you hear me? Please let me know, because I think I'm breaking off here. Hello. Hello, okay, I'm back. I think I don't know what is wrong with my system today. I'm very sorry for that. I will go on now. Sorry. So for employers annual filing, that's the annual return. Like I said, the corporate filing, if your year ends in December, if I don't know what, let me just continue. Corporate filing, like I said, if you have a year end for December, you still you still have 6 months to file with the can you hear me? Please let me know. I would have to maybe corporate filing. If you have VAT and withholding tax you need to pay, that's the time to file it with the Nigerian with your state, your state internal revenue service, whichever way you want to look at it. Message I will need to fix that. And we have paid. If there's any issue with to filing. Yeah, we'll talk briefly about the corporate filing. Like I said earlier, some of the corporate filing it deals with accounting year. That means it means that if you have a January to December accounting year, you still have till June of 2026 to file your return. So what we need to do in this cases that we would do our filing, start at this point in February. For that, we should start reconciling our books, giving our account, the sales book and everything to our tax auditors, so that they will be able to look at it and assist us in the filing. For that is for filing. Also for the CAC, we still have time. I think CAC filing ends with the 31st of January of every year. Now also the new tax law, the tax reform has said if there's any other changes in your management, maybe there is new shareholder and everything, you need to inform the tax authority. These are the times you do that and say, okay, maybe there have been changes, you should be able to inform the tax authority. Even if there is a change of address, the new law says you should inform the tax authority. So those are the things you are going to be doing. We should look out for exposure, something that will expose the business. The audio is not working. Can you hear me? Hello? Is not working. Can someone confirm that? I think I have to switch system now. Let me try and switch system. Maybe that will work for. That will work for this. I'm coming, please. I'm trying to. Yes, hello. Hello. Can you hear me? Hello. Hello, can you hear me now? Because I'm so sorry. I think I have a bit of technical issue today, but it's been sorted now. I think I have been able to at least sort it a bit. We'll come back to that after the class. So let's quickly continue this class. I'm sorry. Hope you can hear me. Can you confirm in the comment section? Okay, thank you very much. Thank you. Okay, sorry. I have a lot of. So let's the tax exposure. I think we are talking about what we should look out for in our VAT filing. If we are qualified for VAT, let's look out for the VAT filing. Like I said like I said in the last session, uh, the VAT filing, the VAT money is not our money. So it's government money, and the Nigerian Revenue Service is always very particular about the VAT filing. So what they do is that at the end, I know that by this January, they may be coming, sending letter to do some VAT audits to some companies. So if your business is vatable, this is the time for you to start putting all your record in a very good way, so that by the time they come, you will be able to give them what you have. For the withholding taxes, the ones that are due to the Nigerian Revenue Service, or the ones that are due to the state revenue service, whichever way, you need to get it in place. Like I said, for the Nigerian Revenue Service, if you are dealing with a company, you have to, there's the limited liability. Withholding tax is deducted and paid to the Nigerian Revenue Service. But if you are dealing with a business name, your professionals, when we talk about professionals, maybe the lawyers and everything, you have to put it with the state internal revenue. You need to, like I said, if you have an outstanding tax assessment that you have not settled, maybe the Nigerian Revenue Service brought some maybe additional assessment to you, need to object there. You need to object, and any assessment. February is when the authority begin to match their data to me. Like I said that they match their data, and whatever you have, if there is an outstanding liability against you, this is the month to start reconciling. I will talk about at this point. I will talk about common mistake, though we have discussed it in the earlier session, but I will talk about it here at this point too. That ignoring January errors, those filings you did in January, ignoring them at this point in February is one of the mistakes. Like, and if we don't correct it, don't ignore it. If you have made mistake, look at it, correct it in January. Waiting for enforcement, you don't need to wait for enforcement, because when enforcement comes, it comes with a lot, it even disrupt business. Because a lot of, maybe it is when they come, that is when your customers, maybe your big clients are around, and they will be looking at your business and saying, this business is not even compliant. Why are we doing business with them? So those are the things we should be looking at. Uh, Assuming penalty won't apply. Don't assume penalty won't apply. Like I said, when we deal with FRS, the Nigerian Revenue Service, it will take time for us to get used to Nigerian Revenue Service. So please pardon me. So when we deal with, especially the Nigerian Revenue Service, their penalties are always big, because it is always calculated on daily basis. So when you calculate, okay, by the time you are paying penalty, maybe they ask you to pay 10 naira and you are not paying it on time. By the time you are paying, you may end up paying 25 naira, which is over 100% of what you are supposed to pay. So don't rely on verbal assurances. Don't let any tax official tell you that go. Don't worry, we will sort it. Ensure that whatever error you made in January, it is sorted before you move forward. Don't let them, because what you may say, this tax officer or this government officer that said I should go, and by the time they come, that officer may have even been transferred away from that office. So you are left with your own fate. So it's always very difficult, in that point. So don't rely on verbal assurances. Your documentation should be top notch. I don't think I can overemphasize on the need for you to have the good documentation. Um, and what you should do also, conduct a compliance self-review. Do a self-assessment of your system. If it's my system, is it risk assured? What is the risk assurance that I have in this? If anything comes up, will I be able to protect myself as a business? Reconcile your pay record. Always reconcile, because like I said, I think I've said it before, my network went off. Reconcile your record. Reconciliation is always, especially pay. There are some payments you made, and now there are a lot of payments that are you pay to your staff that we always assume that is not taxable. So look at the law, seek professional advice. Where you are supposed to deduct, correct error properly, save filing evidence. Whatever you have filed, keep evidence of those filing in your compliance file, and create a compliance calendar. If you know when there is deadline, like I think I made an example of CAC filing that ends in 31st of March. You are supposed to do it on or before the 31st of March. If you have a compliance calendar, maybe on your system or somewhere, uh, it's pop-ups. Yeah, it pop-ups when once it's time for the deadline, so that you'll be able to do it before then. So enforcement mostly starts in March. By the time they are coming, the government officers will come in March to start looking at maybe doing desk audit and everything. They can, and by the time they are doing desk audit, if you have not put everything in place, penalties start coming in. There is a exposure. You have exposure to audit. They can say, "Oh, this company is hiding something," and they can bring audit letter. And for me, audit is, if you are doing audit with, especially with the Nigerian Revenue Service, it can take a whole month. They will just be in your face, and you will be thinking, when are these people going to leave this office? So why not do the right thing and reduce your audit exposure? Mm. So again, compliance is not something you fix under pressure. I think we cannot overemphasize that. I've always said that it's something you manage deliberately. Use February to protect your business, protect your record, and protect your employee. It is very, very important. Use January to do that, so that everybody will be able to stay. And I would also say here that encourage your staff to file their returns, because with the new tax law, the fact that you have filed what you paid for them, government believes that in this age of people doing side hustles, they earn additional income. They want them, aside from what you pay them, they are supposed to file what you have paid. If they have side hustles, they are supposed to file it. Encourage them so that they will not run the risk of being non-compliant. So encourage them to. I think for that, I think they still have till the 31st of March to do that. So encourage them that we have done my part as an employer of labor. You go and do your part. If every state have the procedure, they can approach their tax authority. I know for Lagos State, it's easier because it's online. You can do it from the comfort of your office. You don't even need to visit the office. Do it, and an assessment can be raised if you have extra income, and it's going to work that way. That's how it's going to work for February. Like I said, let's start reconciling. We still have few days to the end of the month, and before the tax authorities start writing letter of shortfalls, because they do it. They look at what you file, they look at the records they have with them, and if there is shortfall, and those shortfalls comes with penalties and interest. So it is this month, you have this month to do it and make everything work perfectly for your business. We don't want to run the risk of being called a non-compliant company. So thank you very much for today. I'm very sorry for the small glitch we have in the course of the presentation. That will be fixed at the next before the next March live session. So we're coming up in March with another very important topic that affects small businesses. So I would for today, I want to thank everybody that joined. I want to say I'm very grateful, and I hope to be seeing more of you. Thank you very much, and have a nice weekend. And we see next month again. Thank you very much. Bye.